100 days of Trump. It's been since he's been in power, and a lot has happened. And here we are. We're going to try and dissect it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to This is the Only Way Up. Tariffs, NATO, Ukraine, Gaza. A lot's been said, and a lot's happening. So, what is going on in the first 100 days of Trump?
Yes, welcome, Shani. So Trump promised much. He promised to make America great again. He promised those Americans who felt the system didn't work for them that he was going to make the system work for them, and he was going to come down on those who were raping America. He was going to come down on those countries that he felt was looting America. And we have seen a lot of this. So we saw the establishment of the Doge department, which Elon Musk, interestingly, the richest man in the world, is leading, whose job is to clear the rot. His job is to get rid of all the bloat in the American administration. We've seen Trump pick his picks for most of his cabinet are people who are not experienced in those areas. For example, Linda McMahon, the ex-wife of Vince McMahon of the WWF empire, is the education secretary who has no experience in that area. You got Pete Hegseth, who is the head of the Department of Defense, who has only been in the National Guard. He has no experience in military industries or all of these areas. So what Trump's done this time, he's made sure he's picked many yes men. He's picked all the people who have the same view about him. And yeah, we've seen he's gone gung ho with tariffs. It's causing a bit of problems at the moment in America because I'm not sure if everyone understands this. A tariff is a tax on imports. So the tariff is paid by the American importer. It's not paid by the foreign exporter. So how that resolves anything, it remains to be seen. And we've seen on Ukraine now, the Ukrainian war was the fault of Ukraine, as Trump said. The invasion by Russia was the fault of Ukraine. And Trump's had enough. Trump wants to stop the funding. And Trump has already had discussions with Putin. And in fact, now Trump and his cabinet are actually propagating Russian talking points about Ukraine being the problem, Ukraine's at fault. So the world's gone a bit Barney in the first 100 days. And I actually feel, Shani, the USA is just looking more and more like the USSR was in the 1980s. The talk of decline and malaise is everywhere. The talk of a leader coming and ending the war is everywhere. Both America and the Soviet Union came out of brutal wars that they lost in Afghanistan. And the future isn't bleak. And actually, these actions Trump's doing, it really remains to be seen. Will they really help America? Will they hurt America? Probably the most important thing we saw was the fact that America's abandoning Ukraine and it's abandoning Europe. It's been very open with Europe that you need to pick up the responsibility. And we've had enough of supplying you, giving you security, of being your big brother. You need to stand up. So Europe's been in a tailspin really since then because they've depended on America for such a long time. They relied on America to pick up global security, and they just chip in. So we're in quite a unique situation in the global world, with the global superpowers saying we've had enough. We want to do things our way, and we don't want to be giving you a leg up. And Canada, Germany, Ukraine, who are long-term American allies, they seem to be treated worse than enemies at the moment. Russia, the enemy of America, seems to be being treated better. So we're in interesting times.
Yeah, and I think a couple of factors you've seen. The one is the debt of America, $30 trillion plus. It's amazing, in terms of when you look at it, it's probably more than if you add up the number three GDP, number four GDP, number five GDP of the countries in the world. And that's just unsustainable. And what we're seeing is America retreating in terms of the globalist way of looking at the world and allowing other powers to look out after other regions and other countries to look after themselves and to hell with it. And saying, okay, you're going to struggle, you're going to starve. That's the way it is. And in this journey to this $30 trillion debt, there's even America's not been the winner. The only winner has been the global elites. The top three people in America, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Zuckerberg, I think maybe Bill Gates might have been there, the number fourth. They own more than half of Americans. So this is the state of the world that we've seen that's accumulated over the last 30 years, where the elites have just gone miles and miles, like light years ahead in terms of the wealth. Even big countries like America, European countries have really struggled, and the rest of the world is drowning in poverty, in difficulty, in suffering, in hardships. Now, what is the global leader of the world saying? Right, you guys are on your own now. See you later. So for the world, for the majority of the world, the suffering will increase, the instability will increase, the tariffs, and the natural, and what we've seen, the second aspect, the natural reaction of the Europeans is, okay, we need to start arming. Why? Why can't they come together? Why can't people come together? Their mindset, the mix of nationalism with capitalism creates either conflict or trade where the elite win, and that's it. And that's where we're heading toward, unfortunately. And I think the majority of the world is fed up. Majority of the commentators, the people, they're fed up. When you hear them, they're like, "Oh, this is 1930s again. This isn't a new situation. Been here, done that. We know what's the projection of this: world war, mass killings, murder, and or we're going back to all they can see. There's no way out of this stagnant wages, this persistent inflation. So the blame is going on America, but I don't think anyone's got any reasonable, tangible, significant answers of getting out of this mess.
Yeah, absolutely. In a time like this, Shani, what you really need is a principled leader, a leader that builds a system that people can subscribe to, that people can believe in, that creates certainty and creates stability. But what you're getting is a complete opposite. You're literally getting a US president who chops and changes what he's doing. Already, there's been pushback against Elon Musk's department. Already, Trump keeps doing U-turns on his tariffs because different industries keep pushing back that it's actually not good for them. One minute they're humiliating the Ukrainian leader in the White House. Next minute they're embracing him. One minute America's making promises to Russia. Then it's saying we're going to arm Ukraine. These are all examples of a superpower that has lost the long-term vision. All it's doing really now is just bouncing away from developments as they happen on a daily basis. And whilst for the moment no one's taken advantage of this, we know from history that when a superpower shows weakness, other countries will take advantage. And America keeps being very critical of China. To be honest with you, the Chinese public opinion for China is much more positive than America. In fact, the Americans, according to polls, are more positive about China. That China has more stability, it has a leader that can control the country. The Americans are obviously divided from everything from abortion to America's foreign policy. So this doesn't bode well for America. And abandoning your allies isn't really going to help you going forward. So, when we look back in history in the future, the neocons probably was the beginning of the end of America, and Trump will probably be the guy that kicked America when they were down, which is really funny because Trump supporters actually believe Trump is defending America and he's making Americans stronger. Whilst everybody can see, all he's actually doing is making it far worse.
Yeah, and I think we're at the stage where it's about core principles now. The core principles of globalist capitalism, liberal values, and democratic systems, and international order. Big question marks. Can they save the world? Can they guide the world? And you could argue up to 2008, there's a case, but since then it's been a steady state of decline, and quite a rapid decline actually. When the biggest, most powerful, most richest country in the world says, "Look, we can't do this no more. We can't afford it no more. We're not going to do this. Everyone needs to pay their bills." There's something going wrong, and we're talking richest by a country mile, not other countries nearby. So I think the whole principles are coming into question. The foundations of the Western civilization is coming into questions, and I think it is a chance to open up and discuss. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's go back to the drawing board in terms of people, in terms of nations, in terms of purpose, in terms of what do we do on this earth in terms of how do we people interact, how do we trade, how do we decide, how do we legislate. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's start again, because the current system has led to killing, world wars, or elites with massive wealth and the majority of the world just working and not getting above the poverty level. So it'll be interesting how this develops. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.